Okay, so I'm looking at my article called Hacking Evolve Authoring, and I'm going to show you how to apply these hacks. So if I scroll down to the installation section, I've got the documentation and I've got the customization. So I'm going to download the customizations, and it takes me to GitHub where it shows the different releases that I have made of this set of hacks. So I can see the top one is always the latest release, and that's the name and that's the description. So what I want to do is GitHub always gives us these two files that we can download, but all you need is the zip here. So I'll click on that zip and I'll download that, and you can see that's downloaded over here. And I'm going to unzip that. Maybe we'll just unzip, extract here, and I'll get this folder. I can delete that zip. I'll open up the folder and I'll see it's got a bunch of things in there. Now this HTML file won't do anything. If I double click on it, it'll just show a blank page. Because all these files are the customizations that we're making. They're not a whole course in themselves, so they're just going to apply a few things to your customization. So if we want to customize some of this stuff, what I'm going to do is we can open up this folder. We can open up this whole project in something like Dreamweaver and we can look at the code there. But I'm going to go into UO includes, and I can see that there's two files here. There's an admin section, which you don't really need to touch. So you can stay out of there most of the time. That desktop.ini doesn't really need to be there. But these two are things that you can change. So if I open this, and I'll open it with brackets, just as a simple viewer that we can look at separately without the overhead of something like Dreamweaver. And let's increase the font size so we can look at this. And you can see there's a bunch of variables at the top. Retry button color. So if you want to change the color of the retry button or the button text, or some of the text down here, you can. And then you can scroll down and you can see there's a section here, function, that applies all of the default customizations, the JavaScript customizations. So you can see it's making all the headings tabbable. It's making the screen reader only sections tabbable, things like that. You can see here the setup back button is turned off because most people probably won't want that. If you want to turn it on, you can delete those two slashes, or you can select that line and press Control / or on a Mac Command / and that'll uncomment that line. Or you can just delete them like that. And that means that that line will run. Now, if there's other things you don't want, say you don't want the audio component adjustments, then you can do the same thing to that and you can comment that out. So that's the JavaScript stuff. You can turn them on and off as you like. Now, if I close that and I look at the other file, the thiscoursestyling.css, and open that with brackets, this is where we are able to put in the customizations for our styling that are optional, that you do on your own and you grab from the articles or you write on your own. So there's a couple of things here that are default. If you apply the back button stuff, then this stuff will get applied, but you can ignore that. It won't apply unless you apply the back button stuff anyway. But underneath this section, you can apply all your own custom CSS. So if I bring up, if I open up my article here, which is the refining button icons, and I know I want to refine the button icons in this course, then I can grab that code, and just like when we use the user CSS plugin, we just paste that in here, and now it's going to apply to our course once we attach these files to our course. So I'll save that and I can apply more if I want to put more in here. But I'll save that file and I'll close that. Now that's in there, but it's not applying to anything because we haven't attached it to our course. So now we need to test it on our course, not just test it, but actually apply it to our course. So I don't have a course ready. So what I'm going to do is use the documentation. So we downloaded the customizations, the template. I'm going to use the documentation to test this on. So now I'll click on download documentation and it'll take me to a Dropbox folder showing me the releases of the documentation. At the moment there's only one. So I'll click on that, those three dots, and download that. And so we'll see the download appear here and we'll look at how to pair that to that course. So this is a normal course. So I'm going to unzip that course. I use 7-zip just because it's a little bit easier, but you can unzip it with anything that you use. And I'll extract it here. Oops, I won't extract it here. I'll undo that. So let's just delete all of that because it didn't have a folder. So it put all the files just randomly placed in that directory. So I'll instead unzip into a folder, or I can just go extract all, which is the default on Windows, and click extract, and it puts those files in a folder for me. So now they sit there and I can delete that zip. Now, if I go in there, I have a normal course. Now this course was exported as an offline course. So if I double click on it, we'll see that it works. But if you exported a SCORM course or another course that's meant for an LMS, it won't work when you double click on it. And I'll show you how to get around that in a second. So I'm going to put this window down here. This is my course, and I'll duplicate that window and put it up here, and I'll go back. And now I'm going to go into the customizations that I prepared. And I'm going to grab all those files and drag them into this course. And I can copy it by holding Control on Windows, and that way I won't move them. And when I do that, it'll ask me, do I want to overwrite index.html? Because there's two files that are the same. And I say, yes, I do. So that should be the only one it asks you about. Oh, in this case, it's asking me about license, but license doesn't matter. And README as well, but it doesn't matter. These just happen to be in this course because I've prepared it in this way. But the only one you should get in your courses is index.html. Now, if I double click on that, we'll see that course run with those changes we added in. So we don't have any changes that we can actually see in this course because there's no buttons with icons in this course, but that's how you would do it. Now, if you want to test it and it's a SCORM course, then you have to do it a different way. And let's look at that example with a different course. So I have another course here, which is my Lottie demonstration. And if I open that up, that's a course there. And it's an offline course still, so I don't really need to test it usually. But in this case, it uses Lottie files, which uses a lot of JavaScript that doesn't necessarily work when you're running it on your computer. So if we open it, you'll see the course runs, but the Lottie files, these pictures, these animated pictures here, don't work. So we need to make that work in order to test it on our computer. So I'm going to open this index file in Dreamweaver, and I've got it open here in this file here. And then I'm going to go down to this button here. And when I click on that button, it gives me an option of browsers. So I'm going to pick Google Chrome, and it's going to load up in Google Chrome. And so I can see now when this loads up that the Lottie files are displaying now. So we can see these animations are all playing. Those ones take a little while, but these other animations are playing. So that's how you test locally. Now, once you've prepared your course like this and you've added in the customizations, you either want to test locally like we just looked at, or you want to upload it to something like StormCloud and test it. And to do that and to create your final package that you're going to upload to your client's LMS, you want to zip up all of these files. Now, what you don't want to do is zip up the folder, because it shouldn't be in a folder or the LMS won't understand the zip. So you want to go into that folder and zip up everything there. So we'll go send to compressed zip folder. I'm on a Windows computer, so that's what I need to do. I don't want to use 7-zip like I've been doing to unzip things, because that can create weird zips sometimes. So you want to use send to compressed zip folder, or it's a different thing on a Mac. Send that to a compressed zip folder. You'll get a zip folder. You can name it whatever you want. So I'll call this my course because it doesn't really have a name. And then that is what you upload to the LMS, that one file, the zip file. And that's it. So we've looked at how to apply the JavaScript customizations template, how to change that template by turning things on and off, how to apply CSS hacks to that template, and how to zip it all up so that you can test it and upload it to your LMS.